And this morning in my devotions, I was reading in C.S. Lewis, and he said something that was interesting. He said that God is a tragic redeemer. In other words, he brings good stuff out of bad things like the political violence that we've been experiencing in our country. Not only what happened to Charlie Kirk, but the whole deal, the whole narrative, everything that is uh, the way that it is. And one of the things that I think we need to realize is that all evil is spiritual evil, whether it comes from the right, whether it comes from the left, if it's hatred, political violence, people tearing other people down on social media, actual violence, people in power calling for violence, all of that, we're in spiritual warfare, and we can't really ignore that if we're going to get ahead. One of the things that really touched me in my life is Psalm 37, and you should read the whole chapter because it really talks a lot about good triumphing over evil over and over and over. But I want to read a little part of it. It says, "Do not fret because of evildoers. Trust in the Lord and do good." And it goes on and says, "You'll inherit the land." And here's what I think about that. For me, it was um, when I was 15 years old, I got into the scripture, and it's really the what caused me to be who I am today. I've soaked my whole life in Psalm 37 over and over and over again. It talks about the dark forces being a great power, and one place it says spreading like a great green bay tree, and then I looked again and it was no longer there. And so what we really need here is a spiritual awakening, not a revival in the church. We need a spiritual awakening in the culture around the church. And I think it's really wonderful in the aftermath of what happened to Charlie Kirk that we're seeing the huge outpouring that we are, the thousands and thousands of people trying to join Turning Point. But if we stop short and just see a resurgence of uh, conservative politics and good old-fashioned values and common sense among the people that we care most about, the young people, the people who've been bathed in animosity toward other people, the people who have been schooled in anti-God thoughts and all of these things, then we're falling short of what's going to really redeem our culture. What we really need is a spiritual awakening. We need people to turn back to God. And so, really, what is this? What am I saying here? Well, I'm an old man and I'm hardly going on high school campuses talking to people about Jesus. But some of you listening to this are in a position to do more than I am by far. But I can still do my little bit. But the one thing that we really need to do is intercede. We need to pray, and we need to actually understand that prayers make a difference. I don't understand why. After being a pastor for most of my life, I still don't understand why God even needs our prayers because he says he already knows our needs, but it's there. And so the call today is to pray for more of the good things that we're seeing happen, but to pray also for better than that, that God would do something that would be a resurgence of Christianity. Five times in the history of America, we've come to the brink of losing. Spiritual forces of evil have come to take over, and then the Lord turned it around. But it always came through a spiritual awakening, and it always came through young people. That's what we need to pray for.